Yes, everybody. Welcome back in the building. Happy August. I thought we were going to do a stream around the new kit launch. That's what I thought we were going to discuss today. Talk about the home away, but there's bigger bomba news that has just dropped. And it is around the main man, Alexander Isak. As you can see, Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein, fair play to David Ornstein. He was the first to break this exclusive news that Liverpool made an official bid for the first time in this Isak transfer saga. We've known he's been our transfer dream target for a while now, but this is the first time we make an official bid. And Fabrizio revealed that it was in the range of £120 million package plus add-ons. So guys, this is major news in this saga. Why? Yes, it's true Newcastle rejected it, but a lot of the most reliable journalists were saying Liverpool would not make a bid until they felt something could happen. Something could happen. And that just shows, even though, yes, it hasn't been accepted or anything like that, that he is Liverpool bound. And it looks like he's Liverpool bound this freaking summer. No, it's a beauty. Guys, I don't think I'm going to be able to stop wearing it. I don't think I'm going to be able to stop wearing it. Take the money and go. Guys, I'm going to read you some of the different reports here, okay? I'm going to read you to tell you just how confident I am now that this transfer is going to happen. All right. So he also rejected a new deal from Newcastle that had a release clause in it next summer, 2026. Again, if Alexander Isak was okay with the idea of staying at Newcastle for one more season because this new contract, they guaranteed him to leave next summer if there was a release clause in there. The fact that he's rejected that shows that for him, he just wants out this summer. He's not willing to stay one more summer with Newcastle. And the fact that he has rejected that tells me that Newcastle can no longer keep him. That's a last-ditch attempt to try to keep a player when you offer a new deal with a release clause the following summer, to try to say, listen, just stay one more with us, and then we'll let you go next summer. Kind of similar, I guess, not to Zubamendi, but he had that release clause and he said, I'll see next summer. This is different because Alexander Isak has said, no, I don't want that. I want to leave this summer. And he's not even in Newcastle anymore. He's literally in freaking Sociedad. He's in Spain right now as we speak. That's how desperate he is for the Liverpool move. Delior says, for 120 million, I'll do the job myself. Just give me a jersey. Wait, did you say 120 pounds or 120 million pounds? Ramsdale joined Newcastle, I know. But guys, I think the struggle for Newcastle, and this is where, if there's any Newcastle fans in the building, I absolutely understand how you guys are feeling. Some players, quite a few players have been rejecting Newcastle. Earlier in the window was Joao Pedro, who rejected Newcastle for Chelsea. Recently, it seems like they were going all in on Benjamin Sesko, and he seems to now want to go to United. So it's really difficult. It's really difficult to know what's going to happen for Newcastle, because I would feel exactly the same. You don't want to let your star man go before finding a replacement, not just because then it leaves you in a very difficult situation, but the problem is if Newcastle do sell him before bringing in a replacement, then whatever club they try to buy that striker from are going to have so much negotiating power. Why? Let's say they sell Isak to us right now for 130 million and they go to Fulham and they say, we want to buy Muniz from you. They'll say to Newcastle, we want to keep Muniz. He's our starting striker. If you want him, you just got 130 million pounds. You got to pay 50 million. When maybe his price was less in the market, but because they know how much money Newcastle now have, it allows them to negotiate in just more power in the negotiations, you know? So Mateta, I think, could be potentially a player Newcastle look at too. We were linked with him for a bit. He's really good, you know? But the problem is, yeah, I can understand what's going on. I can understand the Newcastle point of view, but let me just say something again. I will reiterate. We would not have made this bid had we not gotten some kind of indication from Newcastle that this is close to, that Newcastle is willing to sell him, basically, because we're not going to be wasting our time. We made a lot of informal inquiries, and my personal guess, if I had to tell you, my personal guess is that Newcastle said, we won't accept anything less than 150 million because for us, he's the best striker in the world. That's what I think they said to Liverpool. And Liverpool came back and they must have said, listen, Isak is desperate to go. If you keep hold of him, it's just going to be bad energy in the new season. Doesn't want to play for you. You don't want to keep a player like that around. And therefore, we're not going to match your crazy 150 million. We're going to find a price in between. We're still willing to give you a British record transfer fee, which this bid is right here. 120 million pounds is a British transfer record fee. But I think what's going to end up happening is we find some kind of in between. Like I said, I think they want something close to 150 million. Our opening bid here is 120 million. I think we're going to find a middle ground somewhere 135 million. I think we believe Alexander Isak will become the best striker in the world at Liverpool Football Club, playing alongside the likes of Mohamed Salah and Florian Wirtz. Crazy times. Neil says, loving the shirt, Leo. I'm loving it too. Isak to Liverpool will happen. Newcastle will want this done soon because they need to replace him. Love you too, Adam Gamer. Nice to see you in the building. Nice to see you in the building, my brother. Guys, let me know how you're feeling confidence-wise about this deal. Let me know. Why didn't you get the long sleeves? Bro, this was gifted, so I didn't order this. It was thanks to Classic Football Shirts. They sent it to me. Liverpool fan 11, change it to Liverpool Hub. I like it. Then Adam Gamer says Isak will join. Ali says, why won't we get Alvarez with that money? Isak gets injured way too often. I think it's a bit of a myth that he gets injured way too often. If you have a look, actually, the amount of games he played in the last, you know what? I'll just read this to you guys right now. I can get it up live time. Marie says, at what age did you become a Liverpool fan and why? Also, love your videos. My name is pronounced Ava. Okay, Ava. Ava, I could make a video on that because it's a bit of a long story, but I was around 6-7 years old and it was in Iceland where I am here. But yeah, I do think it's a bit of a myth, people saying that he's this injury prone, because there was one season where, yes, he did pick up an injury, but then look at this otherwise. Have a look at this otherwise. So Alexander Isak last season started 23 Premier League games. No, sorry, 34 Premier League games last season. 34, okay? The season before, he started 30 Premier League games, and the season before that, he started 22 Premier League games. So those are the 3 seasons he's been at Newcastle. And every season, he's played more and more games. So I'll repeat it. In the first season, 22 games. That's 22 league games. Otherwise, he had more in all comps. Every season he's been at Newcastle, he's played more and more games. So I'll repeat. First season, which was 2022-2023, he played 22 league games. The season after, 30 league games. The season after that, 34 league games. And we won't have to solely be reliant on him either because we have Hugo Ekitike. So it's not like we're going to have to burn him to the ground. We're going to have competition for places, which is fantastic. Delior says, did Liverpool play dirty and turn Isak's head away from Newcastle? It's strange for a player to actually do this with so much years left on his contract, unless his weekly wages was very low. His weekly wages, I don't think are that low. Mr. Good Luck says Isak is maybe joining Real Sociedad. I can guarantee you they can't pay the fee that's needed for Alexander Isak. Guarantee you. And he wants to go. The reason he's so desperate to move is he wants to go to a club. He's going to be turning 26 this season. He wants to go to a club that can win right away, can compete for the Premier League and the Champions League. And no offense to Real Sociedad, they can't do that. No offense to Newcastle, they can't do that. Liverpool's the place to go for that. Liverpool's the place to go for that. It just is. Liverpool fan 01 has been a channel legend member for 8 months, who says it would be a dream summer for us if Isak joins, bro. It would be not even dream. I think it would be like ecstasy heaven level. Teamy, thank you for the support. Questionable 11 LFC. Change your username, who's been a community support member for 10 months, who says 2022 was the COVID title. 2025 was the penalty title. 2026 PGMOL. Oh, I was going to say the title, the year we bought the title, but you're saying PGMOL. Bro, we don't care. We don't care. We move. Sidan says it's great that Isak wants Liverpool, but he should stay respectful and committed to Newcastle and attend preseason while waiting for both clubs to reach an agreement, just like Lucho did. Sidant, I think the situation is different though, because with the Lucho situation, Liverpool is willing to sell him. I think Isak, he would have had discussions internally, and my belief is that Newcastle would have said, we don't want to sell you. So he had to take action himself. He had to take that personal action. You know, he had to do what he needed to do to make that move this summer. You know, he's entering the prime of his career. He knows he only gets one career. And this is him taking it into his own hands. And listen, I'm not going to lie. I do feel for the Newcastle fans. Okay. I do feel I would say we were in a very similar situation when Coutinho had that bad back and Barcelona really wanted him. And in the end, you know, he basically, like, we let him go because he was desperate to go. He didn't want to be at Liverpool anymore. He wanted to move to Barcelona. Where I think this is worse for Newcastle is I think during those Coutinho days, we had we could find replacements in the market. For Newcastle, it looks very difficult to find a striker in the market. And that's where I got to be honest. I'm not going to be this like completely biased Liverpool fan where I'm like, oh, Isak wants to join Liverpool. It's this and that. But I really feel for Newcastle fans in this situation. If there's any Newcastle fans in the building, I'm sorry, because I know you're in a difficult position this summer because, like I said, you can't just sell Isak right now because if your only replacement is Wissa from Brentford, who does desperately want to join Newcastle apparently, that's not enough. That would be a major downgrade from last season. And, you know, given you have really ambitious owners, I understand that you need to go for a big-time striker this summer. The problem is if Benjamin Sesko is out of the window, I'm not sure who else they can go for. You know, whereas when we sold Coutinho, we saw opportunities in the market to buy Virgil and Alisson to basically revamp our entire team. And I don't know if Newcastle can do that this summer when you look at the market, you know? Hayden says, Leo, why is the third kit not announced? The green is so nice. They're going to announce it in just very soon is what I saw. I saw Adidas saying that somewhere. Adam Gamer, thank you for the super chat, who says, lads, type 1 if we will sign Isak. I would be spamming one right now. Spamming one. Yes, bro, I think Isak will end up. JJ says, Newcastle actually caused the whole thing, you know. If they had given us Isak earlier, they would have gone Ekitike. That's facts too. Although, I don't know. We've apparently been wanting Ekitike for a while, so maybe, let's be real, maybe we would have gone. Our plan was always to get Ekitike, whether or not we got Isak. But what I will say too, and this is where Newcastle should have handled the situation better. Melissa Reddy, who's a very reliable journalist, said that Isak apparently already last season said to the ownership and the manager and everything that he wanted it to be his last season at Newcastle, that he wanted to move on and move to a bigger club. He said that apparently last season. So it's not like it was just 2 weeks ago that he suddenly wanted to leave. It was 2 weeks ago that he made it public and forced the move. Before then, apparently he already said he wanted it, but Newcastle's owners clearly didn't want to sell. And this is why I think it's unfair also. Some Liverpool fans are saying, aren't you worried about Isak's mentality? He's not being respectful to Newcastle, this and that. But this is where I think it's wrong to say that as well. I think he made it clear a long time ago, and he saw this now as the only way for him to leave, to force the move. To basically put in this transfer request, to say he won't sign a new contract, he won't leave next summer, he needs to leave this summer. I think that's what this situation is. I think that's what it is, you know? And that's why, again, I have sympathy from both sides. These kind of sagas are so much more, they're not just one-sided, you know? And this is why I think it's okay to say, you know, you feel for Newcastle fans. You understand why it's difficult for Eddie Howe, for the Newcastle ownership, but you can also understand Isak's point of view. You know what I mean? You can also understand it. From all points of view, it's unfortunate because Newcastle fans are, you know, obviously really not happy and sad that one of their greatest players in a very, very long time, who just won them their first trophy in a long time, got them Champions League football and everything alongside with the team, but he was the star. The fact that he would do something like this. But we lived it with Coutinho, you know? So even to Liverpool it can happen. And look at where we ended up going after. So to Newcastle fans, I just want to tell you, like, this is not the end-all be-all, because when Coutinho left, I remember how devastated I was. But it ended up actually being a good thing for the football club because we were able to reinvest that money. And I think Newcastle can do that, especially now as well with PSR being so strict, which I think is great for the Premier League, by the way. This is going to help Newcastle a lot with PSR because I think they bought him from Real Sociedad for a fee between 60 to 70 million. They'll sell him for double that profit They'll make the profit back, So when they do sell him, it will be fantastic. And I do think, again, when the emotions of Newcastle fans go away, or they die down a bit, just like I remember initially, I'll be honest, I'd never forget. I was fuming when Coutinho left. The last 6 months of Coutinho, he was on a different level. He was one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. And I remember I was devastated. But when the emotion went away, it ended up being a good thing for the football club. And I do think when Newcastle fans, once he does become a Liverpool player and Newcastle fans, some of that emotion goes away, they will be thankful. Why? Isak delivered them a trophy for the first time in God knows how many years. He made them major profit and he got them Champions League football and 3 seasons where he did really deliver. So he brought so much to the football club if you think about it from that point of view, Obtain the pain. Your username, thank you, bro, for the super chat, who says any club relying so heavily on one single player is such a bad thing, especially with the money Newcastle has. I feel for the fans, but he was bound to leave. Especially Obtain the pain. I think one of the reasons he's probably forcing the move even more so now is, let's be honest, it's been a disaster of a window for Newcastle. And it's shown that as much as Newcastle has been improving the last few years, there's still a big gap between Newcastle and a Liverpool, or Newcastle and an Arsenal. And the way you see that is in the transfer market. I mean, just the fact that Benjamin Sesko is willing to go to United, who finished, 16th or 17th last season? They didn't win a trophy. It's a shambles of a football club. The fact that he's willing to go there over Newcastle says something. It does. Let's be real. And that's not me disrespecting Newcastle. You guys have heard me before. I have so much respect for Newcastle, but that's just the reality. We see it, Patrick says, Leo, are Newcastle in a position to say, no, we don't want Isak to leave, he's staying, or will they have to sell because they don't want a player who doesn't want to be there? Patrick, I think there's still a possibility he stays there, but the problem is when you have a player who's so unhappy, I've heard multiple former managers speaking about this on different outlets. They all said Eddie Howe is going to be pushing the ownership to sell Isak. Why? Because if they don't sell Isak and they force him to stay, all the media attention will just be on Isak. Every press conference leading to the season, everyone's going to ask Eddie Howe, what's happening with Isak? What are you going to do to get him to be excited about playing for the team again? Everything is just going to be around Isak. Nothing is going to be about the team. And that's really detrimental to the team. And we all know football, it doesn't matter how many individuals, look at PSG from last season. It doesn't matter how many individuals you have, no matter how star of a player you have, if he's unhappy and it's bad energy for the entire team, because this is like media also. Media, how it plays a huge part. I believe Eddie Howe will really want Isak to leave because of that reason, And even though, yes, if Newcastle forced him to stay, he would play football games for them. It's a World Cup year, and I do think he's a professional, so he would do it. But I genuinely think it's just not smart for Newcastle. It's really not smart for them. And I do think the Newcastle owners will listen to their manager. They will. And like I said, if I'm thinking about Eddie Howe's point of view, I believe he'll say, I don't want him around because of everything, including, for a big part, in my opinion, the media. A big part, I think, the media. Critical Kiss, thank you very much for the super chat as well. I appreciate the support. Who says, Leo, I'm gonna take you to Anfield this season. Critical Kiss, are you a season ticket? Do you go to most games at Anfield? I really, really want to go this season, because last season I went for the last game of the season and I wasn't able to get a ticket. The resale prices were £1,500 and I was like, there's no way I'm doing that. So I just watched it at a pub around the stadium. But yeah, I plan to go a few times to Anfield this season. But thank you, Critical Kids. Are you planning on going to a lot of games, bro? Charlie Mills, thank you very much for becoming a community support member. I want you spamming those emojis, spamming the champions emojis. And I love your profile pic, by the way. The beautiful logo there. Leo, I met you at the trophy parade for Liverpool. Mr. Ranch King, where did we meet? Yusuf, I'm absolutely buzzing because it feels like now we're getting closer and closer to this Isak deal being agreed. The fact that oh God, Eddie Howe is coming for you, says Stormtrooper. I'm not saying, I have not, bro, I have a lot of respect for Eddie Howe. Look at my reaction after we lost the Carabao Cup final at Wembley. I said Newcastle deserved that. I said Eddie Howe is a top manager. They play as a team. That's what I think makes Eddie Howe such a great manager. The way all of those players fight for their lives on that football pitch. For Eddie Howe and Newcastle. And that's why I believe he's the type of manager who wants to keep that unity within the group. And keeping a player who does not want to be there destroys the unity. It destroys the chemistry. Trust me. You don't want that. You don't want that around. You absolutely don't. Skull, I'm going to make a video on that later, promise, on the new signings numbers. LFC for life, thank you as well for becoming a channel legend member. I want you spamming those emojis. Oh, bro, your profile pic too with Robbo. Is that the Champions League trophy? Neil says, Leo, this was the same situation with Diaz. He's not for sale, but they knew the player wanted to leave. Liverpool said, okay, we had what we wanted for him. Never want a player who wanted to. I do think this is different, Neil. The reason I think it's different is because Lucho, we basically had a replacement for Lucho and Cody Gakpo in the team already as a starting left winger. Lucho was already being played out of position when Cody was there. So I think it is very different. If Newcastle sell, because Callum Wilson already left the club, if Newcastle sell Alexander Isak, they don't have a striker, senior striker anymore. I know they're probably going to sign Wissa because he wants out of Brentford, but they won't have a striker. And if they don't have a striker, then for me, that's very different to the Lucho situation. And this shows you I'm not going to be biased towards Liverpool because, again, I absolutely understand the Newcastle point of view, why they need a replacement first. Because I definitely don't think we would have sold Lucho to Bayern if we didn't have Cody Gakpo or Rio Angamoa coming through and he was a starting left winger. I think we would have signed a replacement before. But again, that's why I do believe the situations are very different. But I get what you're saying in terms of you don't want to keep a player around who wants to leave. And Lucho did want to leave this summer because we weren't willing to offer him a new contract. So, Carlos, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Who says the fact that Benjamin Sesko wants to go to Man United is surprising. I agree. Finished 15th and he's okay with no European football. 75 million euros plus add-ons is the price for him. I don't get it either, Carlos. I don't get it either, but Fabrizio Romano said it I saw it in a video the other day. One of the reasons apparently he wants United is because they can pay higher wages than Newcastle, and United, he still likes the stature of the club. I guess that's the stature of the club is still very, very appealing to players, clearly. The fact they've won so many league titles, they've won European titles, all of that, Newcastle doesn't have that pedigree. And probably Ruben Amorim has really sold them on the project. He'll get to play in an attacking line with Brian Mbeumo and Mateus Cunha. That would be, I'll be real, that would be a very good attacking lineup. Imagine Mbeumo, Cunha, and Benjamin Sesko on paper. You know how with with United, often on paper doesn't mean that it's actually going to be incredible, but I don't get it either. I was saying it using Newcastle over United, and that's not because I hate United. That's because you look at the track record of United over the years. What have they done with top signings? Almost none of them have been successful. There's been a few like Bruno. I think Lenny Yoro will end up being a good signing, but the amount of players who have gone there and flopped, but then been very good in other places. Look at Antony. Look at Rashford. He found life again at Villa. I'm talking about that. I'm not trying to again, I'm bringing my bias aside on the fact that I do hate United, but I'm saying look at their track record and how it's a ship that's really not consistent. I would have chosen Newcastle. It's just a better project. They're half Champions League football, but for me, the biggest thing is they have a proven manager who improves his players. Look at the levels Alexander Isak has reached at Newcastle. I would be looking at that. And he can be the starting striker. Whereas so many players have gone to United and it's just been a graveyard. It's been an absolute graveyard over there. That's what I'm talking about. Charlie Mills, thank you very much for the super chat, who says, what are your thoughts on offering them Darwin? I think that's, honestly, I've seen they're linked with Wissa from Brentford. I see they're being linked to Muniz now from Fulham. I actually think for Newcastle, Darwin could be a good signing. I really genuinely think so. Guys, let me know in the chat if you think that should be um, the case of like Newcastle, or if there's any Newcastle fans in the building, guys, let me know. If there's any Newcastle fans in the building, would you want Darwin Nunez? Would you want Darwin Nunez? Because I think it would be a good signing for them. Him and Wissa, who's like Premier League proven, who had a very good season last season with Brentford. If they get those two players, I think it's good for them. And again, for PSR, it would leave them in an even healthier position so they can invest some of the rest of those funds in different positions. I think that's being underestimated, but I haven't seen any reliable rumors in the last 2 weeks of this being the case. So I don't know. I really don't know. But I do think they should be considering Darwin. I'm not sure why they're not considering Darwin right now. I'm not so sure. Anything and everything. Thank you for the super chat as well. Who says, do you think we still get a center back after all this? 1,000% we get a center back. 1,000%. The latest report I saw from Lewis Steele, who's a very reliable journalist this morning, is apparently we want to dip into the market and sign a young center back with a really high ceiling who's seen as a long-term replacement for Virgil. That's what I heard from Lewis Steele. So I think we're going to sign. I think there's been a few names being mentioned. A few names. But like I said, I think we're going to go for a young center back with a really high ceiling who is initially going to be a squad player, but we believe he has the potential to grow into a starting player alongside Ibu Konate to replace Virgil in the future. That's what I think it'll be. That's where I think we go, you know? Nunez to be included in the deal. Yeah, guys, I don't know why that's not being considered at all. I'm not so sure. Leo, love from the United States. Willie, where are you from in the United States? Where are you from, bro? Matt, thank you, Richard, for the support. Do you think we'll get Isak? Yes, he's Liverpool bound. He is. Madfoot23 edits, thank you very much for the super chat as well. Who says, yo, Leo, who should I get on the new kit? Guys, let me know if any of you guys have gone the new kit already and who you're going to get on the back. It depends. I think there's so many good options, but for me personally, I'm so hyped about the new signings that I have to get Florian Wirtz on this one with the number 7, the iconic number 7. I'm going to get Wirtz. On the away kit, I'm going to get Hugo Ekitike because he's my French boy and I'm so hyped for him. And on the third kit, I'm going to get Jeremy Frimpong on the green one. That's what I've decided to go for, but it's really up to you, bro. I can't tell you. You know, it depends who you're most hyped about ahead of the new season. For me, I really want to support the new signings and I'm hyped about them. So that's why I want to go for those. Bro, are you doing a double watch along on Monday? Yes, Dean. Double watch along. I can't wait for it. It's going to be so much fun. And we're going to get to see the team playing in these shirts for the first time. But yeah, I've seen some people talk down on it. For me, this is my favorite home shirt in years. In years. I really love it. Look, I have it tucked in now, but this is the shirt. I love it. When I get to Liverpool, I'm going to put a Prem gold badge right here and then Florian Wirtz number 7. I love it. Like, for me, this is a 10 out of 10 home shirt. Genuinely. The fact it's going to have the golden badge too, and for me, it's a 10 out of 10 for a home shirt. And if we win big things in it, with the nostalgia, looking back in years later, I think it's going to be hopefully an all-timer. But otherwise, my favorite is going to be the third shirt, the third kit, the green one. LFC for life, thank you again for the super chat, who says we could probably get Isak for 140 million pounds with like 10 million in add-ons. I think they'd accept that right away. But my personal belief, we know how much Edwards likes to negotiate and how good of a negotiator he is. Him and Richard Hughes, I think they're going to want to try to find a middle ground between the 120 million, which is the bid we launched today that was rejected, and 150 million. So my guess is we're going to find a middle ground around 135 million pounds. I think that's where we're going to find an agreement. That's what I believe at least, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But yeah, Dean, I can't wait for the double watch along on Monday. It's going to be so much fun. Madfoot 23, thank you again for the super chat, bro. I appreciate the support. I think, look, some people have responded to you with who you should get on the back. It really, really depends. Again, the vibe that you want. For me, like I said, I'm going for the new signings because I'm just so hyped for them. Dean says my favorite player is Frimpong. He's amazing. The vibes, bro. I love Frimpong already as well. I love him. He's going to become a fan favorite. There's no doubt about it. Fan favorite. I think that duo, guys, of Florian Wirtz and Jeremy Frimpong is going to become such a favorite duo of ours. Why? I think their contrasting personalities give us so much life. And the reason I say that is I think they're opposites, but they're such close friends because of that. And I think on the football pitch, we're going to see them find so much joy. The fact they got to move together as such best mates and they get to join hopefully the best team in the world this season. It's just like there's too much to look forward to. I can't. Bro, it's going to be the Diaz money and the Darwin money. It's going to be both. It's going to be both, bro. Garbi says, hi, Leo. I just got the home kit with Wirtz. Air Force, thank you very much for the super chat. Who says, where do you think Rodrygo is going? I don't think he's going to go to Liverpool. I see Spurs apparently are interested because the Morgan Gibbs-White deal fell through. But I don't think he'd go to Spurs. I think he wants to go to a Champions League competing team. So I don't know where Rodrygo goes. He can't go to PSG because PSG already have enough attackers. Maybe to Napoli? I don't know. I don't think they'd spend that much. I don't think they have the budget. I think Real Madrid will ask 100 million euros minimum for Rodrygo. So what's for sure is I thought it was most likely that he was going to come to Liverpool. But now with this Isak deal, I don't think Rodrygo's coming anymore. So I think there's a chance he might stay one more year at Real Madrid and see. Because genuinely, guys, let me know in the chat. Who do you see him? Where do you see Rodrygo going to this summer? I don't know. Maybe Arsenal, but they've already spent so much money. I don't see them spending another 100 million euros when they spent big money on Zubimendi and Benjamin Sesko. I don't think it's possible for Arsenal to do that deal. I don't think it's possible. Leo, are we playing twice on Monday? Yes, we are. And we're going to do a double watch along on Monday for those of you that can make it. It's going to be 2 separate 11s that are probably going to play the full 90 so that we can get our match fitness up ahead of next weekend. Yeah, ahead of next weekend when we play the Community Shield final against Crystal Palace. Kian TV says, if we don't get Isak, are we getting a new striker or waiting till next season? I definitely think we are getting him, but worst case scenario, I think we wait to get him next summer then. If they force him to stay, I think. What do you think of it? Rodrygo goes to PSG, bro. I don't think PSG are so happy with their attack. Look at what they did last season. They were the best attack in the world. Why would they bring in a player on the left-hand side when they have Quaradona? That's his best position, left wing. Rodrygo will want to go to a club where he can start in his best position, which is left wing. And at PSG, they have Quaradona, who in my opinion is one of the best left wingers in the world. I'd put him right up there. I really regret Liverpool didn't get him, but I really definitely don't see him going to PSG. That's what I mean, go 12. I thought Liverpool is the most likely destination. Now that I don't see it, I don't know where he ends up anymore. Dean says it's a shame that Hato is with Chelsea. I would have loved him at Anfield, me too. And the price isn't even that bad for a player that's that good, Dean. The prices that Chelsea are paying apparently is around 40 million euros, which is not that much. It's around 34 million pounds. You know, I think that's a good deal from them because he's one of the center backs with the highest ceiling in the world. And he can play left back too. He can definitely play left center back. So he could have been the long-term replacement for Virgil. LFC Tyler says, Leo, I'm getting Wirtz and Frimpong on the back of my shirts. Love it, bro. I'm doing the same. I'm gonna get both of those as well. By the way, a Sky Sports journalist, Keith Downey, who is reliable, said, quote, my feeling is this needs to be sorted swiftly. I don't see it dragging on until the end of August purely because of the numbers involved. Now that they have put a formal offer in, it is more likely that it will get done. Newcastle cannot allow this to drag on into the football season. I think we have a resolution before August 16th. Yeah, go 12. The thing, though, is, like I said, the only way I see Rodrygo leaving this summer is for a top team in the Champions League that promises him the left wing position. That's the only way I see it. And I thought maybe that could have been Liverpool because Lucho left. But like I said, there's no way, no freaking way, in my opinion, that we signed both Isak and Rodrygo in the same summer. So I could see him maybe ended up staying there because I just don't see where he would go. I don't see where. Bro, Alisson is staying. He has to. He's the best goalkeeper in the world. He has to stay. Have the No, it doesn't have the Jota emblem. It's the shirts that Liverpool wear that will have them. That the players wear. Leo, Rodrygo might join Barca. I think they're too broke for that. And there's no way Real Madrid sell a star to Barca. No way. Theo, nice to see you in the building. What's good? Where do you think Donnarumma is going to go? I feel like he's going to go to Chelsea. But I'm actually gutted. I don't know if you guys saw the reports, but Lille's goalkeeper is incredible. Luc Chevalier, incredible goalkeeper. He's going to be France's future number one. There's no doubt about that. In not long. And PSG rate him so highly that they're putting big money into him this summer and selling Donnarumma. That's how good he is, guys, the Lille keeper. But that's going to be a big loss for Lille. Big loss. Dean says, do you think Liverpool will put in a second bid soon? Yes, Dean. Like I said, all the most reliable journalists said the moment Liverpool put in an official offer, that means they believe it's close. It's close to being a real possibility. And we would not have made that bid had Newcastle not given us some signs that they're going to accept or that they're willing to accept. We don't mess about like that in the window. Not with Michael Edwards at the helm. Not with Michael Edwards. And this type of deal, trust me, you guys. I understand that Richard Hughes is our sporting director, but Michael Edwards will be heavily involved in this deal. Why? Because look at the money involved. Look at the money involved. Liverpool want to invest into a second club called Getafe. And I'm going to be making a video on that actually. On Getafe. The football club Getafe, who play in the first division of Spain, would cost less money to acquire than Alexander Isak himself. So trust me, Michael Edwards will be heavily involved in this deal because it is so much money that's involved here. Do you know why Donnarumma wants to leave PSG? I think it's PSG that want to sell Donnarumma. PSG think that Chevalier has a higher ceiling, that he's better than Donnarumma. And that's why it looks like they're forcing him out. That's what it looks like to me. The Scouser says, hey Leo, I see you're wearing the new kit and I saw the way your hands were shaking. Adidas is back. Yeah, the Scouser, I was buzzing. I was shaking indeed. I got so many comments around me shaking, bro. Can I get Diogo on the back? Yeah, Wifa, you can get Diogo on the back. It's one of the options. Who's our first target at center back? I don't know. I guess Marguehi, but Crystal Palace are asking for too much money. Retafe? From Classic Football Shirts, bro. Classic Football Shirts. Leo, Donnarumma is amazing. Why is he leaving? I think they don't see him as the complete goalkeeper. Donnarumma is an incredible shot stopper, but he's not great with his feet. And I think they believe that Chevalier is more of a complete striker. I saw your unboxing. Yes, Willie. I was so hyped this morning. The bros. Nice to see you in the building. What's good? Does it look like Costas might stay after all? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And I say that because there's no way we're going to keep 3 senior center backs around. There's no way. Since we brought Kirkez in, it's either going to be Costas or Robbo that leaves. And my personal opinion is it's going to be Costas because we're going to want to keep, because so many players have left the football club already and there's going to be many more that are going to leave, in my opinion. We want to keep the core group who know what it means to win a Champions League, win a Premier League. And Robbo was instrumental in all those years where we won the whole lot. So I think Adnislau will want to keep those leaders around, especially, like I say, considering how much movement there's been around the team this summer. So I think it'll be Costas that leaves. The third kit, bro. I'm so excited to get the third kit. Ça va bien, mon frérot? Ça va? Train FC says, Leo, do you think it's a good idea to offer Darwin and money to Newcastle? They want a replacement for Isak, so it could work. Yes, but Newcastle obviously need to be interested in Darwin. And there's no reliable reports I've seen as of now that say that Newcastle want Darwin. That's the problem. So if they are interested, then I think it could make a lot of sense. And it would be a good move for Darwin because he would be the starting striker and they play in the Champions League. You know what I mean? But like I said, since I haven't seen talks of Newcastle wanting Darwin, I'm not so sure whether that's a possibility. But I've been thinking about that too. Baby says, Leo, PSG doesn't want to sell Donnarumma. They signed the other goalie in case something happens. Bro, there's no way. The other goalie, Chevalier, is going to cost major funds. He's one of the best. For me, he's maybe the best young goalkeeper in the world. Up there. Many teams would have wanted him. They're paying big money for him. There's no way they pay big money like that if he's going to be a number 2 for years. There's no way. No way. Carlos, thank you again for the super chat, who says, decided to scoop a Vert shirt and the home anthem jacket. Liverpool x Adidas. Carlos, did you go to the store? Did you go to the store? Wise says, I can see Rodrygo going to Arsenal. Not me. They've already spent too much money this summer. They've already bought Zubamendi and Gyökeres, and they've spent so much. They have a much higher net spend than Liverpool do, and we have more players that we can still sell. I looked at Arsenal's squad, and the only 2 players I could maybe see them raising significant funds for are Gabriel Jesus, Martinelli, and Zinchenko. And I'm not so sure that they'll be able to raise major funds for them. I don't think so. So, whereas you look at Liverpool, and we can sell Harvey, who's wanted by many clubs. I think we'll sell him for probably £50 million. And then Darwin is going to get us minimum £50 million. So you're already talking about £100 million there. That's a lot more money than Arsenal can raise in funds. And that's why I don't think they can make the Rodrygo deal happen. Carlos says, I live in the States, so I ordered it. Oh, that's sick. Are you on the East Coast or West Coast? Albeit I do miss Lucho, but I also think it was the right decision to let him go because he wanted to leave. We made profit on him. We didn't want to offer him a new contract. So I think for all parties, it was just the right moment for him to leave. And now we're just going to have good memories of him. We're going to be so thankful to him because half of his fee is going to pay for Alexander Isak. And he gave us everything when he was here. So I'm only going to look back with fond memories of Lucho. And he gets this move at Bayern where he's going to get much higher wages. He leaves as a Premier League champion. I think it's a win-win situation for everybody around the Lucho situation. It's Bilal. Yes, I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna make a long form video on that, on why I started supporting Liverpool. Okay, on the second channel, guys. For those of you, by the way, that maybe haven't checked out the second channel yet, let me send you the link. Let me send you the link to the second channel. I'm gonna make a video on that. I'm gonna make a long form video unboxing today. But I promise I'll make a video on why I started supporting Liverpool because it's a bit of a long story, but here's the second channel, guys, for those of you that maybe haven't subscribed yet. And I'll make a video on there for that. Promise. Mikel says, I just bought the away kit with Vert 7 on the back. So hyped for the new season. Yes, bro. Oh, I'm going to get Verts on the back of this one. Next time I'm in Liverpool, I'm going to go to the club shop. Next time I'm in Liverpool. Too hyped, bro. Way too hyped. Uh, Oza says, I'm a Liverpool fan from South Africa. Let's continue to support each other. You'll never walk alone, bro. There's so many South African Scousers, bro. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Big up, bro. Ooh, that's a good point. The Scouser, I'm going to do that. Thank you for that idea. Thank you for that idea. To put it in the bio. To support Liverpool. That's a good point. Thank you, bro. Thank you, my brother. Kaya, thank you very much for the super chat as well. Who says, hi Leo, it's Kaya. I met you at Anfield. Random super chat. Thank you, Kaya, for the support. I remember we were sat almost next to each other. That was for the game against Nottingham Forest, right? The 3-2. And Jota scored that day. Diogo. Carlos says, we'll order a Salah green kit when it drops. By the way, I'm on the West Coast, Leo. Isn't it so early for you then? You're on the West Coast? Bro, what time is it for you? But damn, Salah green kit, that's going to be so clean. And that's my favorite one, the green third kit. That's my favorite of all of them. Pranav says, Leo, where do you think Harvey will go? Apparently, he's been linked with Spurs and Brighton. I hope he goes to Brighton. I think that would be the best place for him because of the type of football they play and how much game time they would give him. So my dream for him is Brighton, but I think we're just going to sell him to the highest bidder. I think that's what's going to end up happening. And it seems like Spurs, Brighton, and West Ham. Those are the three teams I've heard are most interested in him. Leo already has a new shirt. Yes, Swedish LFC supporter. I did an unboxing this morning. Look. Look how sick this box is. I'm going to keep it as a collectible. Look at this box. How beautiful is that? Should I get Vert 7 for my birthday in a month? Yes, you should get Vert 7. Div, I used to speak 3 completely fluently, but I stopped practicing my Icelandic for like 10 years. And now it's so hard for me to speak Icelandic. I can understand it, but it's tough. The green kit is lush. I might have to treat myself. Yeah. Who do you think is our first target at center back? Air Force. I think it's Mark Gahey from Crystal Palace. But they're asking for too much money right now. And I think we're just waiting for them to bring down. I think initially they were asking for £50 million. And we told them there's no way we're paying £50 million for him, especially considering he has 1 year left. So I think we're waiting for them to eventually drop the price to try to find an agreement. And I think Liverpool's willing to pay something between 30 to 35 million pounds. Where's the El Nino shirt, bro? Look how beautiful. Look how beautiful, bro. Oh. From Classic Football Shirts. Look at that. El Nino. El Nino. And you know who I sent it? Look, I'll put it like this. Guys, no joke, last time I was in Liverpool as well, I met the agent of Fernando Torres. I met the agent and we spoke for quite a while, and I actually sent him the video this morning of the unboxing and he was hyped. So hopefully one day it'll be possible to do some content with Torres. Carlos, thank you again for the support. Who says, like how on the jacket it has the "You'll Never Walk Alone" on the hood. Oh my god, Carlos. I need to get me one of them. I need to. Will you do a predictions video with JSM? That would be fun. When will the third kit be released? Mika, we don't have the official dates just yet, but I think very soon. Adidas said, wait, I think I have it. Look, guys, I saw on TikTok. Let me show you. On TikTok, I saw them saying this. Love you from Ethiopia. Beck, shout out to you. Ethiopian Scousers in the building. You know my favorite, maybe my favorite artist. I need to see if you know her. Hold on. Guys, I wanted to show you. Look at this on TikTok. I'm going to make a post on it, actually, for Instagram. But look, someone commented on the Adidas TikTok, where's the third shirt? And Adidas said soon. So I think if they say it like this, I think it means that it's going to drop very soon. Yeah, Pranav. because Lucho's wife follows me on Instagram, so I sent her the farewell video that I did for Lucho. I wanted her to see it, to see how loved he was by the Liverpool fans, you know? I just ordered Bradley number 12. Oh, that's sick. Do you think we get Fofana from Lyon? I think we're first focused on this Isak deal because the Isak deal is a big one. It's a big one to get over the line. So I think we're more focused on that right now, to be fair. But yeah, bro, I need to get the Hood one too. My goodness. My goodness. By the way, latest update from Sky is that Liverpool are understood to be preparing a second offer for Alexander Isak. Newcastle will only sell if they have a replacement signed up. Bro, the problem is it seems so difficult for them to get a replacement. Why don't they get... Bro, why don't they get... I don't understand why they're not interested in Darwin. I think that could be a good signing. Guys, are there any Newcastle fans in the building? Are there any Newcastle fans? MK, because Alvarez is very happy in Madrid. He only just moved last season. And Julian Alvarez is very happy in Madrid, whereas Alexander Isak really wants to move. That's the difference. Atletico Madrid don't want to sell. And Alvarez is happy at Madrid. In Madrid, living in Madrid and everything. So that's why the Alvarez deal would have been impossible this summer. Yes, Alinos, but not me personally, Alinos. The Instagram account, Liverpool Goals. The Liverpool Goals Instagram. Muniz is a good replacement. Guys, are there any I was going to say Darwin fans. Are there any Newcastle fans in the building? I'm a part Newcastle fan. Okay, Shabi. Would you want Darwin at Newcastle? That's what I want to ask you. Liam says, what do you think about Kolo Muani as an option for Newcastle? I think Juve really want to sign him. So I'm not so sure. I think Juve want him. The Scouser, the problem is we did a Discord before and I never used Discord, so it just became inactive. Maybe in the future, but right now I think it would just be inactive again. That's the thing, because we do currently have one, but it's just inactive. Baldwin, if we get Alexander Isak though, we would still sign a center back. That's the thing. We would still sign a center back. Ollie B, goalkeeper, thank you for your kind words. Anthony says, I'm a Newcastle fan. Would you want Darwin? That's the question. Let's say you signed Darwin and Wissa, who's Premier League proven, who had a very good season with Brentford last season, and you would still have lots of profit. Anthony is also a Newcastle fan. Guys, would you want that? Would you want that? Dean says, I think if we offer 130 million and Darwin, job done, bro. That's too much. If we offer Darwin with... It would need to be like 80 or 90 million plus Darwin, not 130 million in Darwin. That would be way too much, bro. Right, Theo, I give him a 10. This one, for me, it's the best home shirt for me that I've had in the last few years. But I'm also an Adidas fan. I've always preferred Adidas. I love it. And this is without even having the gold badge, which I'm gonna add. Bunches, it crashed, yeah. I think. Wissa isn't leaving. I think he really is forcing the move. And that's why Brentford are trying to look for a replacement right now. We should get Guehi and Isak. That's what I think we're hoping. That's our dream right now, to try to do that. Willie says, Leo, I'm a Newcastle fan. I think Wissa will be good. He was amazing last season. Yeah, I think it would be smart to get someone who's Premier League proven and someone who's maybe more of a project signing like Darwin to try to turn them into a top striker. Yassine says, I think Newcastle should sell Isak, get the money for him, and use that money on a good striker instead of waiting and getting a striker. Yes, it's risky, but you can use more money for a player. I can more so understand them. I can more so understand them wanting to find a replacement first, because like I said, otherwise the selling team would ask too much from Newcastle because they know they just got all this money from Liverpool. Anthony says, I take Wissa and a young, promising striker. So would you say Darwin is a young, promising striker? Because he's still relatively young. And we all know he has a crazy high ceiling. What do you think about getting Eze from Crystal Palace? Bro, we're all in on Isak. We're not looking at other attackers right now. I think Arsenal are going to do everything they can to sign him. But I think Crystal Palace are going to ask for big money for him. Because I think his release clause expired yesterday. I think July 31st was the last day of his release clause, which was around £68 million. I saw some reports of that. And because it's expired, that leaves Crystal Palace in a better negotiating place as well. They can say you weren't willing to pay 68 million. Now we're going to ask for more, because for us, he's our key player. He helped us win, the FA Cup last season. So I think it's going to be hard for Arsenal to get that deal done now. Really hard. Manus, nice to see you in the building, who says, I'm in the building. What improved bid do you see us making next for Isak? And if we sign Isak, do you see Darwin leaving? And where is Isak and Ekitike playing in the system? Darwin, whether we sign Isak or not, I think Darwin will leave this summer. That's number one. I think since the beginning of the summer, it's clear that Darwin wants to leave, that Slot doesn't back him or rate him in his system. I think he's going to leave no matter what. That's number one. Then, how do we fit Isak and Ekitike in the system? There's many different ways. First of all, for a big chunk of the season, you guys, we're going to play 2 games a week. 2 games a week. So we need 2 strikers in that position. So even if they interchange as who's starting at the striker position, they're both going to get plenty of game playing time. Plenty. And then number 2, Paul Joyce said this. Apparently, one of the things Arne Slot loved about Ugo Ekitike and why he wanted to sign him and spend big on him is because he saw him as a versatile attacker. So it seems like we could see him occupy multiple different positions. So there can be a world where Isak and Ekitike start. But like I said, there's also a world where Alexander Isak starts many, many, many games at striker and Ekitike starts many games at striker too. And we won't want to rush. We won't want to put too much on either of their bodies either, So, opinions on the new jersey, bro. I love it. I really, really love it. Jarvie says, I'd be happy to keep Darwin as a third choice striker, but he wouldn't want to stay as a third choice striker. Jarvie, that's the thing. Darwin wants to be in a place where a manager rates him as a focal point in his team. And there's many teams that would want him for that. But the reality is Slot clearly doesn't rate him like that in his system. And that's why he's going to move on this summer. He's not going to want to be a third string. Yeah, Baldwin, think about last season, especially with the new Champions League format. Many, many weeks we're going to be playing 2 games in a week. Seriously. Logan, thank you for the super chat. Says, what was the point of buying Ekitike? Bro, I just said why. I literally was just saying how they both fit into the team. Would you rather keep Darwin or Gakpo? Bro, that's not even a question. Absolutely, I would rather keep Cody Gakpo. Because we need a left winger since Lucho left. And Darwin, now we could potentially have 2 strikers. Dean says, why don't you put Ekitike on the back of your shirt? I will. Dean, my plan is to get Florian Wirtz on the home one, to get Ekitike 22 on the away shirt, and to get Frimpong 30 on the third shirt. OG Cup is back indeed. Cheers to us signing Alexander Isak for the craziest window ever, for the greatest transfer window in Premier League history. Cheers, guys. I'm going to hydrate to that. Already, I thought this window couldn't get any better, and now it looks like we're going to sign Alexander Isak. These are just wild times to be alive. Absolutely wild times to be alive. Do you think Rio Ngamoa deserves chances to play next season? Absolutely. I think he's proven this preseason that he's a different talent to anything we've seen, and therefore he deserves game time. Absolutely. I can't wait for it. I cannot wait. What would be your max bid for Isak? I think 35 million pounds. I think if we do something with add-ons that gets to 135 million pounds, I think that's a fair in-between price. I really think it is. And hopefully that's where we find the agreement. I'm real hopeful of that. Bro, I'm too excited. Leo, should I get the long sleeve or short sleeve home? I got the short sleeve, but I think the long sleeve looks even better. Joseph, if you can get the long sleeve, I would get that. What position is Rio? Rio's a left winger, bro. Left winger. This might be the greatest transfer window we've ever witnessed in our history. For us, for sure. For the Premier League, for sure. But I think Real Madrid had the most insane transfer window. I forget what year, but Real Madrid did have one crazy summer. But still, if you think about Premier League history, I think this will, if we get Alexander Isak, I think it's without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, look, that's the Torres shirt behind. I think it's without a doubt the greatest transfer window in Premier League history. Without a doubt. Look at this beauty. Look at that beauty. Meanwhile, should we assume Rodrygo is impossible? Yes, Isaac, it's impossible. No, Mr. Ranch, I'm just here for another month. Just for the summer. And then I go back to France in September. And you want to know where to buy the home kit in Canada? Bro, that's very, very broad. Canada is a huge country. There's many. I'm telling you, there's no doubt that in the main cities, in the shops, there's many places that are selling the shirts already. There's many places that are selling the shirts. PSG literally signed Neymar and Mbappe in the same window. Yeah, but look at us overall. We replaced our two fullbacks, Kirkez, Frimpong. We signed Florian Wirtz, who was the hardest player to get in the market, and then arguably the best number 9 if we get Isak. I think it would be better than that PSG window. And anyways, I said the best Premier League transfer window ever. I didn't say ever in football, but it would come close. Yeah, look, Carlos says it was the summer of 2009 for Real Madrid. They signed Ronaldo, Benzema, and Kaká. Jesus. Just Ronaldo and Benzema, that makes it... I mean, just Ronaldo himself, honestly, given what he did at Real Madrid, that already goes down as the greatest window ever. If you're just talking about Ronaldo. Because... for me, that's the best signing of all time. Because Messi technically came from the Barca Academy. And the second best player I've seen in this generation is Ronaldo. And they signed him. So, and think about the success he brought to Real Madrid. But yeah, so I'll just say best Premier League window ever. Leo definitely needs to come visit Australia. I would love to, bro, one day. Croatia in the building. What's good, bro? LFC Kid, nice to see you. You were on a walk. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to go on a walk later today. Who do you hate more, United or Everton? Me, personally, United. Because I didn't grow up in Liverpool. And for me, Everton never competed. Like, they're more of a rival in the city. But they're nowhere near the levels in terms of on a sporting level. Whereas United have had success. And... they caused us, for me, a lot of pain growing up. When I was a kid, it was United that dominated. And for me, I've never seen Everton be good, you know? So for me, United is the team I hate more, you know? You'll never walk alone from Vatican City. No, it's a trend where you come from the early down to Newcastle and zoom in on Isak and you make an edit of him. Australia mentioned. I wish we got Hato. Bro, we're going to get another one, though. Thank you, LFC Kid. I appreciate you, brother. What about the Ibu contract situation now? I'm seeing more and more reports of people saying, of journalists saying that he's more likely now to stay than to leave. So I'm feeling confident about it. Confident about it for sure. That he will end up staying. Shabi, I live in France. Thank you, Albi. What player do you think we should go for if we can't get Isak? Bro, we're going all in on Isak. It's Isak or nothing. That's how we operate in the market. We see standout players who will elevate our team to the next level. And if not, we don't need to go for those players. We don't need to. So there's no backup if we don't get Isak. There is none. We're going all in. True, Jarvie says, I don't hate Everton till recent years. That's true as well, actually, what they did. Pickford injuring Virgil, Richarlison injuring Thiago, Funes Mori injuring Origi. That made me hate them. That's true, actually. You're right. Happy to be a Scouser from the US. You'll never walk alone. Yes, Carlos. Leo, just how hyped are you for the new season to start? Manus, I've never been more hyped in my lifetime of being a Liverpool supporter. Never. Already with these beautiful kids coming out. The fact that we had the best window in my lifetime of being a Liverpool fan. The fact that we're Premier League champions already. and that we've had a window like this, for me, I've never been more hyped for a season. I've never been more hyped. Already for preseason games, I'm like shaking. And you saw I was shaking when I did the... when I was looking at the new shirt. So I'm just like in ecstasy every single day, and I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait for this season to start. Like, it's to a level I've never felt before. Marnus. And that's what I love about football. You can feel like a kid again. For me, that's the beauty of it. You don't need to be rational. LFC fan says, not going to lie, Leo, Frimpong was electric the other day. Your thoughts? He made a stake to be the starting right back. I thought for sure he was going to be our starting right back first game of the season, but Frimpong was so electric and looked so bright in our last game in Japan that now I'm not even so sure anymore. I feel like he could be our starting right back. He was just fantastic. But we'll have to see. Against Premier League opposition, it's different than doing it against a Japanese team, you know, with all due respect. Neil says, you'll never walk alone for Mauritius. Big up. Mark says, you'll never walk alone from Alabama, USA. Big up to all the Alabama Scousers. Do you think we'll get Isak? Yes, bro. Yes, bro. Confident. Yeah, LFC Kid says, Leo, it's true. The real rivalry for Liverpool versus Everton really showed when Curtis had that fight. It's true, honestly. The rivalry has really risen in recent years. In the last, 5 to 7 years. Is Mamardashvili the best backup goalkeeper in the world? Yes, unless PSG don't sell Donnarumma. Cold Omar, nice to see you, says, I'm buzzed about the new season. I got the new shirt a couple days ago. It's insane. You'll never walk alone. Let's go. No, I'm not going to get the Rio Angamo shirt. I already decided I'm going to get Verts, Ekitike, and Frimpong. Those are the 3 I'm getting. Can we do another bid today? I think it could happen. I think we're not messing about here. I think we're not messing about. I could see us making the second bid today. We have a very promising defender from the academy, even if Ibu... No, we don't have very promising central defenders. I asked actually an academy expert. I asked him, do you think we have anyone who could potentially be able to make that step up like Jarell Quansah did? And they told me no. There's no one in our academy right now. There's some talents, of course, but no one that's Liverpool ready. And that's why we have to dip into the market to sign a really talented young centre back. And hopefully we do end up getting Mark Gahey, because as much as I love Joe Gomez and as much as I thought he could have been an option for centre back, we just can't rely on him. He's too injury prone. He's simply too injury prone. Alina says, Leo, I like your new haircut. Thank you. Yeah, it was... You don't want to know the price. Everything in Iceland is a fortune, bro. Everything in this country is a fortune. It's bad. It's bad. Manus, the crazy thing though is by the end of this window, we're likely going to have a lower net spend than Arsenal. Genuinely. That's just crazy when you think about it. When everybody's saying we're buying the title. Carlos says, I might go for the goalkeeper kit. Honestly, at this stage, Carlos, I might go for all of them. Zahir says, I think the next bid is 140 million. Nah, I think the next bid will be between 130 and 135 million. That's what I think the next bid will be. Max says we're buying the title. Bro, Arsenal have a higher net spend. That's what matters, net spend. They have a higher net spend this window. FYI. No one's talking about that. Dean says, I think the first Liverpool League game will be amazing atmosphere. I'm going for a 4-0 Liverpool win. It's gonna be the most insane atmosphere. You know why too? The fact that it's going to be a nighttime kickoff at Anfield, for me, that always elevates the atmosphere because people are having pints before. It's going to be an incredible atmosphere, and it's going to be the first game back. So all the Premier League fans are going to be watching that game too, because they're going to be so excited for the Premier League to return that there's going to be such high viewership. So hopefully they can see Wirtz's debut goal at Anfield. And Alexander Isak, and Hugo Ekitike, and Frimpong, and Kirkez. And Mamardashvili, why not add him in there? Singh says, Leo, is Isak still training in Spain? Love the trim. Thank you, bro. Yes, he's still training in Spain. He's just waiting now for Newcastle to accept a bid. Waiting for Newcastle to accept a bid, and then hopefully he can fly and get it done. And get it done, baby. Kirkez is going to be up against his ex-club, absolutely. First game of the season is against Bournemouth. at Anfield. I think it's at 8 p.m. UK time kickoff. So like I said, it's a nighttime kickoff, which just means it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. LFC fan says, can't believe there was a 10-minute queue just to get into the online store. Yeah, bro, the hype has been real for this shirt. Carlson says, I'm going to the opening game. So excited. Oh my goodness. Yo, Leo, it's my birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Singh, who says today, so the best present would be Isak at Anfield. Oh my goodness. Leo, what do you think of the Community Shield final? I don't get why people believe that competition is cursed. I want to win it. Why not? Why not win it? I believe we can win it. You know, we're up against Crystal Palace. What are the chances Newcastle sign a striker? At this stage, I don't know anymore because they've targeted so many this window who have rejected them. But hopefully they do get Muniz over the line. Hopefully they get Wissa over the line. Or maybe they end up going for Darwin like we were saying before. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. You know, we'll have to wait and see. When did you get your kit this morning, bro? I did a video unboxing this morning. And I got this new Torres shirt. Look. Retro shirt. Is the first league game on a Friday night? Yes, Dean. It's on a Friday night. The 15th of August, I think. I think that's a Friday night, right? So it's in exactly 2 weeks, guys. Yeah, 15th of August, Friday night. So in exactly 2 weeks' time, you guys, because we're a Friday right now, we play our first game of the league season. Oh my God. Let's give 100 million in Darwin, bro. That... I think it's more like 80 to 90. I think Darwin should be worth 50 to 60 million. So I think it would be more so worth it. Darwin plus 80 or 90 million. But like I said, I haven't seen Newcastle say that they want Darwin. That's the thing. So we'll have to wait and see. No, I don't have a kid yet. I don't have a kid. But it's my biggest dream in life. To become a dad one day. Isak isn't worth 150 million. Bro, I think we're going to agree on a fee that's lower than that. That's my personal prediction. We're going to agree on a fee that's lower. Oh, breaking news. Guys, breaking news. Newcastle United are likely to make a move for Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins, according to Craig Hope, who's a very reliable journalist for Newcastle-related news. Newcastle are likely to make a move for Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins. Benjamin Sesko was their top target, but Man United now look like the most likely destination for the Leipzig striker. Brentford's Wissa and Wolves' Strand Larsen are also on their shortlist, according to Craig Hope. Guys, what do you think? It seems like their top target now is Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa. If they get Wissa and Ollie Watkins, who are two Premier League proven strikers, I think that would be great for them. I think that would be great for them if they make that move for Watkins. And I think he would want to move to Newcastle. You know, I think he would. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I think that's great. That shows that this is going to move quickly, guys. If Newcastle sign Ollie Watkins, I think that's them ready to accept that Isak is going to leave. Seriously, guys. Guys, I think this is going to move quickly. Oh my God. Oh my goodness, guys. I was already too excited, bro. I was already too excited for the new season. And now we could actually sign Alexander Isak. What is going on? By the way, Anthony Gordon was in a last place last summer when his move to Liverpool collapsed. Gordon said, I had the transfer stuff with PSR. I thought I was going to leave at some point in the window. It didn't happen. I had to get my head around that to begin with. And then to get my head around it again when it didn't happen was hard. As you guys know, we nearly signed Anthony Gordon last summer. We nearly did. But in the end, it didn't happen. It didn't happen in the end. Darwin to Villa? Maybe. Guys, what do you think? If Aston Villa sell Watkins to Newcastle, could that have a snowball effect of Darwin going to Villa? Potentially. Potentially. Alpha says, hi Leo, what's up? I'm so hyped for Isak. He will join us. I know it. Also, Leo, is there any news for Chiesa? No. The latest news is that Atalanta if they sell Lookman, to Inter Milan, then the player they're going to sign to replacement is Federico Chiesa. So it seems like the team that's most interested in Chiesa right now is Atalanta, who did qualify for the Champions League last season in the Serie A. You're the only person from other clubs that I watch. I respect you even as a Man United fan. Thank you, Harry Judge. I appreciate you. Manu says Man United are linked to Sisco and Watkins, but I think United will get Sisco because he's 22 and got time to grow, which will be a very good signing for United. Yeah, Harry Judge, I think you'll end up getting Sisco because it seems like he's rejected Newcastle to go to United. That's what all the reliable reports are saying right now. Mango says, I would honestly love to sign Gordon as he's a good winger from what I've seen. Yes, but there's no way we sign Isak and Gordon. And it seems like now we've set our sights on Alexander Isak. Nathan says, is it crazy that I prefer beating Everton to United? No, that's not crazy. Both are our main rivals. I didn't see Chiesa. No, the rumors were Stefan Bajcetic to Celtic, not Chiesa. Not Chiesa. Darwin will cook under Unai Emery. Guys, maybe that could happen. Maybe that could happen. Damn, guys, I really think Isak is going to move quick. I really think Isak is going to move quick, you guys. What a time to be alive. Crazy times. Crazy, crazy times. All right. Guys, unfortunately, I'm going to have to go because I'm going to prepare a video for you guys and have lunch because it's 1:30 here, 1:30 p.m. But yeah, I don't think he's a Darwin type player, but I could see him doing well at a club like Villa or at a club like Newcastle. So I definitely think Darwin will leave this summer, and I think it's best for his career. It just didn't work out for him there, you know? James, thank you very much for the super chat. Who says Chelsea can never criticize Liverpool spending. Neither can Arsenal, bro. They've gone under the radar too. They've spent big. Like I said, they have a higher net spend than Liverpool. So yeah, I don't know who's saying Chiesa to Celtic, bro. The rumors were Stefan Bajcetic to Celtic. But yeah, guys, anyways, I'm going to have to hop off. But I think, yeah, I saw Dave, but I'm waiting to see if others are putting out that news that we're willing to pay more. Guys, I'm waiting to see. So anyways, I think there's a good chance even today there could be another breaking news live for us to come together around because I think this will move very quickly. The fact we've put in an official bid to me says there's going to be a lot of movements. So guys, this is going to be the end of this live. Thank you so much for your support. Those of you in the building, I appreciate you guys. But I think we're going to be live very, very soon again because like I said, things are moving and there's a chance we have a double live today. So guys, I will see you very, very soon. Hopefully we get more positive news around Alexander Isak. I think we will very soon. So guys, have a beautiful rest of your day. Happy kit reveal day as well. Beautiful shirts. And I will see you guys very, very soon.